There's security cam footage from last year where a 16-year-old driver in, I believe, that Prius, as you see it again there, ran over a mother and her 8-month-old, I believe, baby in that stroller. Other people were bystanders, as you can see the separate angle where this other runner was looking, and then this person driving the pickup truck decided to put an end to it there. First of all, news from the mom and baby. They're both okay now. Of course, completely shaken up. But let's go to some details because this happened in Venice, out here in Los Angeles. So a Venice woman who was hit by a car while walking her 8-month-old in a stroller, an incident that was caught on video, says that she's outraged by the punishment that the teenage driver received. That is gonna be the crux of this story. The rental car was being driven by a Palmdale resident who had just turned 16 years old the day before, didn't have his license, was under the influence, and on probation for another horrific incident. The Office of LA County District Attorney Jayar Jackson charged the driver, who was a minor, with 2 counts of felony assault and 1 count of felony leaving the scene. The now 17-year-old was sentenced to 5 to 7 months in a juvenile probation camp. Small side thought for me, he's 16, he's renting cars. I remember I couldn't rent a car until I was 25. Okay, maybe it's just a rinky-dink rental operation, I don't know. So how about those previous charges from this 17-year-old now? There's some tweets about that information. Per multiple law enforcement sources, the juvie was on probation and violating it at the time of this hit and run. And he'd been previously convicted of felony poisoning after he spiked a teen girl's drink at a Palmdale high school in 2019, and she was hospitalized over that. The mother, who was run over there, believes that he should be charged with attempted murder. This is what her victim statement reads. As the car got dangerously close to us, KB turned the wheels in our direction and accelerated as he aimed to kill us. I screamed at the top of my lungs for him to stop. I made eye contact with KB, whose face had no look of fear, surprise, or regret. He stared right at me with a look of intention. The district attorney's office of LA has been facing a bunch of backlash from this, though. Rachel, who voted for District Attorney Gascon, but now supports the recall effort, calls the punishment laughable, that 5 to 7 months. She tells Eyewitness News that because of this incident, the lack of justice and the fact that she doesn't feel safe, her family is moving out of LA County. Now, this district attorney, they said that they charged him with the most serious offense possible. So they went through a bit of a tweet thread here before I let you in here, Bridget. This is what Gascon's office said. Contrary to what some have claimed, it's not attempted murder under California law. To charge that offense, our office would have to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the minor specifically intended to kill the victims. There was no evidence of that. The incident was undoubtedly terrifying for the victims, and we know the trauma will impact their family forever. Our Bureau of Victim Services reached out to the victim to offer its services and resources. And unfortunately, opponents of the district attorney are attempting to capitalize are attempting to capitalize on its incident and are now using the victim to advance the false premise that this sentencing is tied to the DA's criminal reform policies. The truth is, our office simply followed California law. It's horrific, and it's the nature of the game. And then this office comes out very vehemently talking about, hey, what are we supposed to do? It's just what it was. It's a bit of a bad look, especially as they're going through all this recall effort.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, and like something that you brought up that I bear with me here, but the fact that this person was previously charged with, spiking the drink of a female classmate, I think that that's not surprising to me because I think that we certainly don't take crimes and violence against women and girls seriously. So part of me wonders, like, what would have happened if somebody would have looked at that crime and really, treated it seriously? Would we be where we are now? But I also think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that I feel that we're not in a place as a country where we're able to have substantive conversations about crime and policing and criminal justice. We're just not having the right conversation. And so the fact that that they had to come out with this statement and say, oh, we just followed sentencing guidelines, we don't set those guidelines, like, what do you want us to do? And that they feel that this issue is being, this tragic issue is being politicized in this way. And, I don't know, I have this feeling that when we talk about crime and being soft on crime and hard on crime and, urban places like LA and New York where people say, oh, crime is rising, but then they don't talk about the fact that crime is also rising in non-urban places, rural places as well. I think it just shows that we're not really having a conversation about crime and how we keep people safe. We're having a conversation about something else that is very politicized and charged. And so I'm grateful that this mother and her child were okay, and this sounds like a horrifying tragedy, but I think it really underscores the need to have real substantive conversations about how we keep folks safe and to turn down the temperature politically about these conversations, because when they're so extreme and charged, I don't think we really get anywhere.
Well, the whole point then when it comes to politicians talking about this type of things to get into office or to get a one-up on their opponent, and then after they get that one-up on the opponent, what's the point of this anymore? We don't need to do something about it. I used this to advance myself. Why would I work to change it? It crosses the line also with the gun issue. They said they came together with a bipartisan agreement. Now you have John Cornyn saying, I'm going home, I can't talk to these people anymore, who was appointed and sent there by Mitch McConnell to do so. And I said it from the beginning, I was the pessimist, only because it's a cycle. Their job is not, in their minds, in our minds, politicians' job is to do something about things. In their minds, their job is to say they're gonna do something about it, get in office, and then enrich themselves and whoever else that's gonna pay them to do so. Let's just keep it real.